So honestly, I honestly think the problem with Poly People is that I honestly think she's really just streaming to get attention, which, cool, go off, but you actually have to, like, try. So you're probably noticing there's a person missing. ZZ is currently unavailable because they are not feeling good. They started getting a migraine at the beginning of the stream. So we want to be really clear about a couple things. One, everything I'm saying here is stuff that me and them have already talked about. This is also their words as well. So if you're going to at me, at both of us, please. Two, we send love to them, and just remember that, you know, they're there here in spirit. We do not allow Zena erasure on this channel. So please be aware. With that said, let's jump into this. One of the things that, from my perspective, and from ZZ's as well, that makes someone a good leftist is their ability to understand when harm reduction is important and when revolutionary thought is important. This discernment is 130% absolutely critical to being a leftist. If you can't do this, that is a problem. Why am I talking about this? Well, as all of you know, there is an election coming up. And despite the fact that Donald Trump is currently indicted for 37 counts of the Espionage Act, he is still ostensibly running. And as such, there is to some degree a concern about him possibly winning and creating 4 years of darkness and probably 1,000 years if we're not careful. The thing is, the last time there was an election, a number of streamers got in trouble because there was a, how do I put this? There was a fairly notable backlash against anybody who said that they wanted to vote for Biden as a means of harm reduction. We called these people back in 2020 Bernier busters. Because these were people, progressives ostensibly, who basically really, really liked Bernie Sanders, and they got real mad that he dropped out of the race and gave it over to Biden. Now, everyone was disappointed in this. Bernie is the guy we always wanted, and sadly we'll probably never get him. But the fact that, like, people decided to just kind of stomp their feet and whine like children is a problem. And you see this with the, what is it, Brianna Joy Gray, or the socialist MMA folks, things like that. The problem is that, again, these people are idiots. They don't understand harm reduction. They do not care about people of color. They do not give a shit about trans people or queer people as a whole. Because if you understand very clearly what happened in the last 4 years, you'll understand that while Joe Biden is a milquetoast liberal who's done a couple progressive things and a couple awful things, the reality is that the day he got into office, if you were assigned male at birth like me, you got a bunch of rights back, full stop. And so the issue we got into is that a lot of us had to make a line in the sand. It was vote or potentially die. Another 4 years of Trump, between pandemic, between all of the rules that were being changed in the background, especially in the Department of Health and Human Services, all these other things going on. These people told us not to vote for Biden because I'm going to just say it, either they're idiots or they want us dead. I'm not surprised that someone would come up with sort of anti-electoral nonsense this time around again, but this time it didn't even require Bernie to drop out of a race. It just required a clout goblin. So for those of you who don't know, there is a person that we have interacted with before, and her name is Poly Pepo. She is a streamer on Twitch who sounds like Cher. And my problem with Polly is that at one point when we were working on the puritanical progressive list, she decided to at me on Twitter and start a fight with me. We ended up blocking each other, and then Sage kept fighting. But the problem is that it didn't really, like, put a good taste in my mouth about this woman. Not that she has good taste, but, like, the issue is that I started noticing this trend. She goes against Keffels and says some of the most ridiculous, bad arguments in the history of mankind. And let's face it, like, she sounded really, really bad. She talks a whole bunch of shit about Finster, who was doing nothing wrong, and then had Finster on and acted like they were best buds because she's a clout goblin. She's not an actual leftist. She just wants to get clout. Yeah, she famously streamed President Sunday for almost a week. I know President Sunday gets like, I love President Sunday, don't get me wrong. He does get like bugs under his feet and occasionally like gets really focused on a person, like not so erudite. And sometimes it's justified, it's warranted. Not saying it's not. But like, Polly beat him at that game, and that's a hard game to beat. Okay, can we be clear? Finn is best girl of Twitch, true. We have this person, Samantha Burns. They seem nice. Polly's tweets are so dumb, I think I now hate white people in general. Okay, not my favorite take, but not bad. Let's see what we're said. Will you fare better under a Republican? No, you will not. The only way out from under oppression is through consistent voting for the only party working towards your the goals you desire. No, of course I won't, you dumb. I'll be a refugee. I'm trying to sound the alarm here, and huge surprise, no one gives a about trans peeper. So first off, let's ignore the spelling errors. Get Grammarly, dear. Like, there's no reason. But also, let's be really clear about something. I don't want to be a refugee. I don't want to be a refugee. Okay? Let me be clear about this. So, Potty Peeper is making an argument here, at least attempting, and saying that, well, no one cares about trans people. But that's not what's actually happening. There are people in the Democratic Party that do give a shit about us. Not many, not a huge amount, but the reality is that if you think under Trump or DeSantis we will do better, you are on crack. No, I don't have the crack pipe. Sorry, guys. So the only way this really works as a concept is if you're under the impression that these two things are equal. She's shilled for Cornel West. Hilarious. We won't get into that, but yeah, that's an absolute train wreck. So again, if you follow Polly on this, you are not a leftist. I am drawing that line in the sand. If you think this is an okay way to think, you fundamentally do not care about the marginalized. Do not vote third party. Do not revenge vote for Trump or DeSantis. There is legit danger if DeSantis wins. There is legit danger if Trump wins, and there are different types of danger. This is just trolling. This is what I've come to the conclusion with about Polly. She's just trolling. Me and ZZ talked about this. There is no other way in which this logic makes sense. She's just trying to get attention. And sadly, to do this, we're giving it to her. But she's a really good case study of how not to be. You shouldn't act like this. I try to get attention all the time. I'm an attention whore. I like posting lewds a lot on my at Lady Diabolique account. Don't go there if you're under 18. I will block you. But that account, I post lots of stuff, often a lot of furry art. But guess what? I get attention because I flirt with people, because I interact, I make decent arguments, and I make fun of right-leaning people because I go after people who want us dead. Ghostly Blurryface, if you don't vote, we're gonna have a problem. The reality is you can be questioning or disliking about voting. Voting is flawed in this country, and it is problematic. You still need to do it. If you don't, I cannot consider you a leftist. Because the reality is that if you genuinely care, you're going to do everything in your power to make things better. Harm reduction through voting is one of them. I am not saying voting is the only way. I am not saying that it is the only thing to do. What about felons? Felons should absolutely be able to vote. If felons were able to vote in every state, the Republicans could never win. Like, just hard line. Yeah, voting's easy. You go in and do the thing. Yeah. If you care about trans people, you need to vote, full stop. That is the way this works. This is how the systems function. The end of the story. Let's go on to see what else Potty Peeper said. YouTube privilege. YouTube privileging. I don't know who this young lady is, but yeah. Love her lots. Biden Harris 2024. Let's finish this. I may have white privilege, but I'm still be a refugee if Biden doesn't do something to protect trans people of all races. So again, Biden can't do against state laws. Now, he can do executive actions. He can do all sorts of things that might affect them, but he can't really just gainsay state laws. And again, she's talking like this is at a federal level, which it would be under DeSantis or Trump. First off, let's be really clear about something. Polly Pepo is one of the people that was big into the whole say her name thing and was really, really shilling for like that side of YouTube that cares a lot about black issues and nothing else. And you know what's funny about this? You know, the soul bunnies, the anti-misogynist girl who started the say her name stuff. It's funny because she's talking back against a black woman. By her own logic, she's in the wrong. She's just being a racist according to her own logic. By my logic, she's fine to talk back. She's just an idiot. But the reality is that if Biden's in power, while the world will not be wonderful and suddenly a Shangri-La, what will actually probably happen is that there are states like mine, like Washington, like other ones, that will still probably be relatively safe states. Hell, Governor Whitmer here in our state just decided to go through and, if I remember correctly, she's now started a task, I think it's a task force or a committee on LGBT issues. And we recently just passed like fair rights and treatment in work. So there could be some good stuff coming on the line there. And there are other states that are sanctuary states and the like. Guys, you do understand that like this, like the entire US is not garbage, right? Like it's awful, but there's places that are safer, right? But again, let's be super clear. Polly People has no idea what's going on. She's just lost the plot. Of course, I said something about this. I don't know what's worse about Polly People. Her pack of Marlboros a day voice or her other stupidity. At this point, I just believe she's a troll with no actual political motivations. Lumi, she's so disingenuous. I can't believe a single part of her act. It all might be to just be fake. True. She wants to be the purest, most left-leaning person in the camps. True. I want to be the purest person inside the mass grave. So then we got this little piece of work. Let's make sure it's the sound is decent. Okay, guys, I gotta say something. Girl, I will wear some okay? I will wear pasties out here if people pay me enough. But my problem is that I don't care how old you are. You can pull off anything, do it. My problem is that you gotta pull it off. You feel me? So just, yeah. All right, what do we got going on here? This is from Beatrice Pasha, or Bastet Passion. Beatrice, good person, essayist pervert, decent human being. Interacted with them online. Let's see what Polly's arguments are.
Here's this person right here.
This is consequently identical to voting for the Republican candidate. It's the easiest trolley problem in the universe. There is no flaw in Biden which is not measurably worse or likely to become worse under a Republican.
I don't care. How about I don't care? And the best way you can show you're not a fascist is just shut the up forever, right? Oh.
Okay, so let's look at her. Do I really want to pull off? No, I don't want to pull it off myself. No, I'm just saying she can't pull it off either. So what I just heard her say was, but what she's basically saying here is that, you know, Beatrice is making the argument saying that if you don't vote or you go third party, you are essentially voting for a Republican, which means you don't actually give trans people, which is true. Polly says, I don't care, with no other any other kind of argument here, which tells me that she genuinely doesn't care. I'm not trying to like psychoanalyze her. This isn't like we're in my office or something. I'm just going based on what I see. And what I see is a person who I don't think actually cares about these issues. Yeah, it's just virtue signaling. It's just trying to get the Bernie or Bust crowd to start being loud again. Now, I won't fault her for using a silly voice to read out someone's tweets. I've done that. Maybe use a voice that's further from your normal one, because you just sounded like Eric Cartman doing a you impression. It was weird, right? Am I wrong? Anyway, what I think needs to happen is I think there needs to be a very honest sort of take, which is voting is important. It is something that you should do. It is not fun. It is hold your nose and just do the best you can. Ghostly blurry face, the other parties do not matter. I'm going to be really clear. Like, let me break this down before we get more into Polly Pepo. Third parties are impossible in this country. The system is jury-rigged in such a way that there is no way they can win. The only two parties that can win are the Republicans and the Democrats. Now, if you want to make large, sweeping, systemic changes that will then allow third parties to win, be my guest, but you need to have a different voting system that is not just first past the post. And the issue being is that, unfortunately, we don't, and they can't, so voting for them is insane. Let's also take into consideration that the Green Party fielded Jill Stein, who was a noted anti-vaxxer. You will not convince me otherwise. And the Libertarian Party, which is right-leaning libertarian, and at one point, Gary Johnson wanted to repeal the Civil Rights Act. There is no reason to vote third party. In the US, in other places, possibly. But here, 9. No. EA, no. What?
Here's this person right here.
This is consequently identical to voting for the Republican candidate.
True.
It's the easiest trolley problem in the universe. There is no flaw in Biden which is not measurably worse or likely to become worse under a Republican.
I don't care. How about I don't care? And the best way you can show.
Yeah, so honestly, I honestly think the problem with Polly People is that I honestly think she's really just streaming to get attention, which, cool, go off, but you actually have to like try. But the other thing is that it's just, I think, to just be cute on outfits, which is great. That's fine. Do that. Be a hot tub streamer, but don't talk about politics because you're bad at it. Anyway, here's the thing. If you think that not voting is a good idea, see yourself out. It's just that simple. If you think not voting is a good idea, you are, by all rights, not an adult. Because you don't understand how our political system works or functions. Sometimes you have to hold your nose and vote for somebody. I know, you really just want to go. It's okay. It's not like she's like got to do something. She's just being annoying. My point being is this really simply. Please, for the love of God, please vote. I would like to not die. Zizi would like to not die. We would like our friends, our lovers, our family, our people to not die. Please. This is to anyone in the US. If you are able to legally vote, please vote. Please vote Democrat. We don't know if Trump's actually going to get arrested. Or not arrested, but excuse me, but is it indicted or yeah, sent to jail, whatever. Not a lawyer. But we don't know if that's going to happen. And we honestly don't know if he goes to jail, if DeSantis gets to be the person. I don't think DeSantis can win against Biden, but I'm afraid of the possibility. So please vote. Do I think that feel that South Park irony poisoned things? Yeah, 100%. I actually think there's a lot of stuff in the 2000s that irony poisoned everybody. Anyway, guys, we'll talk more about this later, but we'll see you in the next one, all right? Love you. Bye.